Hello, I'm Nick Fitzherbert. I apply the rules of magic to helping business people improve their presentation skills. Now, in a previous video I talked about the importance of firsts and lasts, because firsts and lasts are what people remember, so you need to work on those more than anything else. But how do you get off to a good start? Well, there are two good routes. One is to do something a little bit different. So rather than hello, good morning, this is what we're going to do, so do something a little bit different, take them out by surprise, and you might find your audience perking up thinking, oh, this is going to be worth a listen. The other is to throw out a question. So you're immediately engaging your audience, you're getting them involved, you can work probably with the answers that you get back. Two ways. I have to say though, both of these routes can be absolute minefields. Let me tell you a couple of stories to illustrate this. A friend of mine was very keen to tell me about a conference he'd been to. He said, oh, this chap, he came on stage and he brought with him a lettuce and he put it down in front of him. And he went through his whole talk. We kept wondering, what's he going to do with the lettuce? Well, he never did anything with the lettuce. So when it came to questions and answers, the first question was, what are you doing with the lettuce? He said, what lettuce? Well, this is all very amusing and quite memorable, but the telling thing was, I said to my friend, what was the guy's name? He said, don't know. I said, well, what did he talk about? He said, I can't remember. So it turned out this lettuce was a completely gratuitous lettuce. It had no connection with the subject matter or the person. If you're going to do something a bit different, it's got to have a link to what you're talking about. It's got to trigger memories of your subject matter and you as a person. Now the other one, throwing out a question. I went to a talk once and the guy came bounding on, full of energy. He said, right, okay, you here, who likes skiing? Oh, nobody. Well, his first 10 slides on the theme of skiing fell a little bit flat. I personally think he was rather unlucky, but not nearly as unlucky as somebody else I saw on a ship where I was speaking at a conference. She said, okay, could you please shout out the names of some brands that you love? Yeah, Sony, Virgin, yeah, Apple, yes, thank you very much. Right, now some brands that you hate. And the guy at the back said, yeah, yours. And she said, yes, some brands you hate, please. She said, yeah, yours. And she said, well, why? Well, he then went into a long, horrific story about a terrible experience he'd had with this lady's company. Something that was meant to get her off to a good start had the completely opposite effect. So, if you're going to throw out a question, the first thing I would suggest is actually a show of hands is probably better. Nobody minds putting their hand up, but actually being put on the spot and asked to speak is probably asking a bit too much. The other thing is to, when you ask a question, be as sure as you can that you're going to get the right answer. You don't want any nasty surprises. So, for instance, if I were to do a talk about presentation skills, I could ask a question like I said, could you put your hand up, please, if you get nervous when you've got to do a presentation? Now, I could reasonably expect a lot of people would put their hands up, and if they did, I would say, well, that's quite usual. Most people do. In fact, even Tony Blair says he still gets rather nervous when he has to make a presentation. If, surprisingly, very few people put their hands up, I could actually still work with that answer, because I could say, oh, well, you know, you are the lucky ones, because most people actually find they get nervous when they're giving a presentation. And that's, you know, even Tony Blair says he still gets nervous when he has to make a presentation. That is perfectly usual. But even those of you who don't get nervous, you'll find one day the nerves will kick in for a variety of reasons, and you'll be even more nervous because it will be a shock to you. So that then gets me into a whole talk about how to handle nerves. This is the sort of thing I talk about in my coaching, where I'm helping business people with their presentation skills. It's also in my book, Presentation Magic, which is published by Marshall Cavendish, and is available now.